Hello everyone. I hope you can see me. I'm Dr. Kavita Chanda and today I am here for this page live herbal homeopathy, herbal homeopathy. First of all, let me thank to Dr. Shikhar Sharma who invited me and gave me this opportunity to share my views here. I'm so sorry, friends. Maybe today I'm little less confident because very first time I'm coming live on the Facebook. Till now, I have just taken the webinars on Zoom. So I'm a little new here. So please forgive me and let me talk about harmonizing homeopathy. So, friends, in harmonizing homeopathy, what can we see? Which points I have to discuss? So I am here to tell you few things about harmonizing homeopathy. But for that, you need to remember that what is homeopathy. I don't love to listen that bookish language that it is a science which is based on the similia similibus curenta. No, I don't like this type of sessions. I just want the practical knowledge, the practical definition of herbal homeo and homeopathy. See, this word is really beautiful. The name which Shikhar kept for his page is herbal. It means that see, we belong to India, and in India herbal is very common. But when you combine it homeopathy, you will definitely get some good, more better response. So let us talk about harmonizing homeopathy. What is it? First of all, you should know in your practice then what to treat. What are the clues to success? I am going to share the clues step by step. First of all, you should to know one thing: what to treat, where to treat, when to treat, approach to prescription, ranking of the layers, and individualization. Why individualization is necessary in clinical case taking. So I am going to explain you one by one. First of all, let us talk about the what to treat in the patient. If you know step by step, you will understand the different layers of cure. See, homeopathy is really a gentle pathy, and we are blessed by getting this pathy. It is just like our Gandhiji's Ahimsa Paddhati. It's a gentle pathy. We even don't touch our patient and still can provide better relief than any other pathy, and we provide cure. We do not provide the patients anything else. We do not touch the patient, still we provide them uh, the results. But for that, first of all, you need to know what is there to treat in the patient. We all should know. There are two main ranks or grades which we must understand while considering a case history. Which ranks? Filter. First is the layer of organ systems and second is the layers of toxins entered in our body by genetic material and energetic transfer. Different substances causes different kinds of damages. Some damage to endocrine, others to the neurological system or the abdominal flora and so on. The layers in order of importance of health are: first one is endocrinal axis, second is neurological, third one is liver, and on the fourth number our kidneys come. Skin comes on the fifth layer, including lungs and intestine. And on the sixth layer, we count our muscular system, in which heart I also included the heart because it is again a part of muscles. And at the last and the seventh layer is our skeletal system. Now let me tell you one thing. What happens whenever any patient come to visit us? We know that the patient must have some reasons and he is interested in addressing that particular reason. But what happens? For us, it is important to understand which layer need to be addressed first. For example, I'll give you few examples while my conversation. But let me tell you one example here. If a lady is visiting you for eczema, it is just an example. If any lady is visiting you for the eczema, while taking history, you come to know that she has severe PMS, premenstrual syndrome, there is engorgement in the breast, and mood swings, irritation before menses, later on dysmenorrhea, or PCOD or fibroids. For suppose she is visiting you for any gynec trouble. Here if you chose the best remedy for skin and along with she has the eczema and for her main concern is eczema because she is visiting you for the eczema, not for this PMS, this dysmenorrhea or PCOD. But here, if you choose the best remedy for skin, still you won't be able to create the cure for sure. Because skin, according to the hierarchy of the layers of the health, skin comes at the fifth layer, as I explained you. And what comes on the top layer? That is endocrine. So until and unless her hormones won't get settled, how can you create the cure? If you give the best remedy, maybe you are going to help her for the partial cure, but it is not the permanent one. Why? Skin is the outermost organ of the body. Immune system try to throw the toxicity at skin level to save the inner vital organs. To address skin, we first need to balance the hormones. In fact, in few cases, if you will observe carefully, in fact, by balancing the top layer, we automatically address the further down layer. So sometimes you really do not need to put remedies for eczema because for sure you know that if you will settle the endocrinal level, automatically your skin will get better. Let me give you one more example so that you can understand it very easily. See, I am here to share my knowledge, but please don't consider me that I am a great person. Nothing. I am nothing. I have just tried to study in a specific subject and I am sharing my knowledge here. If you have any queries, you can write in the below boxes and after this session we can discuss it. Okay? Now let me give you this one more example. Like mood disorder. Mood disorder, which can be considered a neurological imbalance, can commonly arise from hormonal imbalance. As we usually observe in female either before menses or during menopause. In such cases, we need to satisfy the endocrinal level first. Because if you will go to treat the neurology or the mood disorder, you are not able to control it completely. We need to clear it. For that, we need to first settle the snake of the hormones. It is just like a snake. See, hormones are quite silent in your body, but like snake, if somebody put the feet on the snake's tail, it will definitely turn back and will bite you. The hormones are same. So first of all, what we need to satisfy our hormones first. Our body is basically run in system by various physiological secretions like enzymes and hormones. Their harmony is the key of health. Like in our family, if we want harmony, we need to settle everybody's mind. We need to settle everybody's ego. Like that only, we need to settle the ego of each hormone and enzyme in the body so that it should run in the harmony and it should provide you a better experience of health. If any single enzyme or hormone got disturbed, the whole endocrinal axis loses its harmony. Like same in the family. If anybody is upset or if suppose any person is suffering from cancer, then what will happen? The whole family will get disturbed. And this is the opening door for the pathologies. Where the hormones get disturbed, they open the door of the body, they open the door of the immunity for the pathologies and they allow the pathologies to enter in the body. Hence, endocrinal or hormonal layer has the top position in the layers of the body. So for sure shot cure, whenever you hear the history of the patient, please ask the patient about endocrinal history. Please ask the patient, did she ever consume the oral contraceptive pills for a long time? Not for once or twice. Because see, you cannot detoxify everything. But if suppose there is consumption of OCP for 2 years, 3 years, like it used to happen previously. In my mother's era, the ladies used to consume one tablet for contraception. they have to start it at the fifth day of menses, and then they need to stop it after 21 days. And after 4 5 days, menses used to appear. Till now also, this hormonal practice is in the existence. So my suggestion is that if you get something like this in the patient's history, try to fix the hormone first. Now coming back to the discussion, what to treat first? I suggest to pay attention to the reasons for which the person is visiting you. Say, you cannot tell your patient that though you are visiting me for eczema, but first of all, I am going to treat your hormonal level. No, this is the knowledge for a medical person, but this is not the knowledge for the patient. Don't share this with the patient. Keep it in your mind and don't tell the patient that you are going to treat his hormonal level or his top layer, because the patient will get disturbed. For him, what is important? The reason for which he has taken his important, valuable time and he is visiting you. So please pay importance to the reason for which the patient is visiting you. You must listen carefully his chief complaint. Suppose the patient is complaining of abdominal issues like indigestion or constipation. But when you go to the timeline of patient, when you interrogate the life space, you come to know that initial derangement happened at thyroid level or at cortisol secretion from kidney. Let me simplify it for you. See, whenever I talk anything, I just give lot of example for easy understanding, and just try to percept what I am telling you, because I required almost 18 years to understand this. So I don't want you people to waste your 18 years for learning good things. That's why I'm sharing my experience, my knowledge with you here. Now let me simplify it for you. Suppose any patient consulting you for anxiety, sweating and high blood pressure. During case taking, you come to know about his hyper behavior, hyper excitable behavior, as well. He needs to be tired for good sleep. Otherwise, he is not able to sleep. Like patients sometimes tell us, Doctor, I need to do lot of exercise or physical exertion. जिस दिन मैं थकता नहीं हूं ना मुझे नींद ही नहीं आती है. Patient needs physical exertion so that he can land in a good sleep. These symptoms tell you that anxiety and sweating is basically due to the surge of adrenaline. Here you need to address the adrenal cortex for better results. If you will consider the anxiety associated with sweating and high blood pressure, you may think about nitramur or lachesis. Understand? No doubt they are really good remedies and will control the disorder till some extent. But until and unless you see the pathology behind current complaints, you cannot provide relief. See, if you just control the blood pressure of the patient, like various doctors are doing, they give nitramur in the morning and auramur in the evening, and they control the blood pressure. Or we have other remedies like lachesis. But to control the blood pressure just is not our cup of tea. You are homeopath, my friend. So you need not to address only the superficial complaint. This is the complaint for the patient. Understand? He is visiting you for the blood pressure, anxiety, sweating. But for you, what is the reason behind it is more important. Find out this reason. Give first adrenalinum to settle his adrenal cortex and the secretion of adrenalinum, and later on put the nitramur or lachesis or whatever remedy which you feel better. And you will see the difference in the result. You will get more success in your practice. So, professionally, first address the chief complaint for which patient is concerned and visiting you by considering the beyond pathology from his life space. But never discuss this with patient that I need to control the adrenaline surge to treat you. He will leave you. Because for him to get addressed his chief complaint is important. He has nothing to do with your theory. So there is no importance of the theory beyond the blood pressure or about adrenaline. That is for us. We need to understand this theory, but do not share anything professionally with the patient. Just listen him. You are a listener. You should be a good listener. Just listen him, because it is said that if you listen patient carefully, the patient will get 50% relief, and then you need to treat only 50%, the remaining part. For sure short results, an accurate life space and knowledge of pharmacology is mandatory. See, you can achieve this success only by only if you have a good knowledge of pharmacology and materia medica. So please keep on reading good books, the other books, the other medical books than homeopathy, because you need to understand what are the exact mechanism of the body, what is anatomy, what is physiology, what is biochemistry. Because in our college days we only just remember them. रट्टा मारना कहते हैं ना उससे. So we just only remember them, but we don't practically apply it in our practice until and unless you don't understand. So it's a time that revise your biochemistry, see the importance of every enzyme, what are the physiological secretions of the body, and what is their function. If you know their normal function, then only you will understand the symptoms arise due to the abnormal ratio of the enzymes and hormones in the body. Okay? Now moving forward. After case taking, we come to know about the toxin exposure, which imprints are still on the immunity of an individual, about which organ is not balanced, either kidney or thyroid or liver. See, liver make cholesterol, and if its production got disturbed, then a person may suffer from high HDL cholesterol, which may result in atherosclerosis, and finally the patient may land in cardiac arrest. So whoever patient visiting you for the heart patient, always first think about liver. Various cases of heart always arise in the liver. Here I would like to share a funny thing, that we all know serotonin is really important for the sleep, and serotonin is a transmitter, neurotransmitter, and it is a cable pathway secreted in the brain, uh, present in the brain. But the funny thing is that though it regulates the function of the brain, but 80% serotonin secretes in your abdomen. Now you got my point? Whenever you suffer from any issues which are related with the brain, for that, first of all, you need to settle the abdominal discomfort or abdominal issues. So, to prevent heart attack, we need to balance a proper ratio between LDL and HDL. For that, we need proper cortisol secretion from kidneys and good fats in the body. Here I would like to tell you one thing, that in India or in overseas, because I have a lot of patients from overseas and I do visit lot of places, lot of countries for my webinars and seminars. So what I have observed, various girls first they eat everything, and then with the fear of obesity they induce the vomiting and push everything out. So if you will do such things, you will get the adverse effect on the body. And few patients are there, they do not consume oil at all, just because of the fear of obesity or fear of heart attack. My friends, we need good fats for the body. We need good saturated fats. Until and unless you won't consume saturated fats, you are not able, your body is not able to maintain the other enzymes in a proper ratio. So, my advice is that please consume at least 2-3 tablespoon ghee every day, melted ghee, not in solid form, and 2-3 tablespoon olive oil or other oil which you are easily getting in India. You can consume it. Almost we need 7 tablespoon full good fat every day. So to be healthy, you need to consume good food. Here I want to tell you one thing, that we need some oil in our diet, which is the source of good fat to help a balanced metabolism. Olive oil, mustard oil, ghee and butter are the good sources of good fat, but yes, suggest your patient to do exercise daily. If you will suggest only them to consume the good fats, they will consume it because Indian people, they love eating. We are government people. Understand? There are different people who eat for live to be live, and we are live to eat. It is said about Indians. So if you will just suggest them to eat, they will eat. But don't forget to suggest them that they should do some exercise with it. They should do some physical workout with it. Now consider the miasm of the person. The next point for the what to treat. Now consider the miasm of the person, add all above points and prescribe. Trust me, you will be able to address his most important points, his most important complaint, and can provide him cure, not the recovery. Why I am using the word cure here, not the recovery? Because recovery is the temporary restoration of the health and cure is the permanent restoration of the health. And friends, patient visit a homeopath for the permanent restoration of the health. They expect cure from us. They do not expect the palliation. They says because they have the mindset होम्योपैथी हर बीमारी को जड़ से मिटाता है. Homeopathy treats the disease from the root cause. So it's better to deal accordingly. We are in the modern era, so we need to focus on the biochemistry, on the human chemistry, along with the timeline of the patient, along with the nutritious diet. Understand? Now the second point, where to treat? Because now you got what to treat, right? Now moving forward, where to treat? Start your treatment at the level of primary root cause according to the layers of importance which I discussed in the beginning of the session. If you work at the wrong level in the beginning of treatment, then you may get unnecessary aggravations and an incomplete cure. Make a distinction between acute and chronic solution. We need and must address any acute complaints first before dealing with the underlying chronic situation, as acute is the manifestation of the underlying chronic state. For example, I am very bad with giving example, because but I love to give example from my clinical practice always is because it make easy to understand. For example, if you have a case of autism and you already prescribed him his constitutional remedy, and meanwhile this treatment, if patient gets sudden attack of violence, which is a common character of autism, you need to address it immediately. Maybe here you need other symptomatic remedy in higher potency to control the violence. After the attack is over, you can back to the chronic remedy. Let me give you more simple example. Like I have a patient of autism who is a known case of Hyacyamas, and I am already giving him Hyacyamas as his constitutional one. But suppose he got some attack, whenever he gets some attack of violence and he start biting others, he start throwing the things, showing temper tantrums or hurting himself, then I cannot go with the same remedy because already I am giving this remedy to him, and along with this remedy still this violence arise, it means that this violence needs something else. So in such case, either I will go for Stamonium, either I will go for Belladonna higher potency, or I will go for Tarantula in higher potency. Why higher potencies? Because higher potencies are usually recommended in psychiatric cases as they work on the mental level. So don't worry, give the higher potency in aqua dose. Put it in the water and give to the patient. You can repeat it 4-5 times in a day. And as soon as you control the violence, the acute attack is finished, then again you can start or you go back to your constitutional one. Understand? I hope till now you got my points. Now moving next. Do the answer for the question where to treat is treat the core of the patient. Our next point in today's discussion is when to quit. You will say what the doctor is talking about. Why to quit? When you are giving a good remedy, you are homeopath, why to quit? Friends, in some cases we need to quit. See, every pathy has its limitation and scope. So, as well we also. So please try to understand that at some position, at some limit, we need to quit. Where? It may be sounding strange for you, as various doctors do not want to lose the patients. They feel that, oh God, luckily I am getting this patient. Why to lose it? Why to tell the patient that I am going to quit your case? But if you won't do it, patient is eventually going to leave you. Let me explain. If patient is not following your given commands or suggestions and keep taking continually those remedies which he was taking previously before meeting you, and now they are creating adverse effects in his body, but still he is taking it. Let me again explain with the example as per my habit. Suppose a woman consulted you for PCOS and she is taking OCP given by some gynecologist, either to prevent pregnancy or maybe suggested by her gynecologist. Sometimes gynecologists give external hormone to balance the inner imbalanced hormone. But homeopathic concept says that our body itself secreting all hormones, and if there is any imbalancing like less or more level of hormones, hammer the immunity of the patient with appropriate homeopathic remedy to tune what is mistuned. Hence, we do not suggest the external intake of hormones as it is the obstacle in cure. If patient though start homeopathic treatment for hormonal balancing and still taking OCP, oral contraceptive pills, then how will you treat the patient? See, both opposite actions are going on, and it is not like that north is attracting south. No. In homeopathy, similia similibus curantur. So, how will you treat the patient if he is taking some wrong medicine which is creating adverse effect in his body and being obstacle in your cure? You will never be able to make body secrete hormones as body is getting it from outer source. Gradually, one day body will develop resistance to those remedies, but till then the immunity damage unfortunately will become irreversible. At the end, patient will say, I have taken homeopathic treatment for a long time, still I didn't get relief because to take OCP is absolutely not wrong for people as per their mindset. Previously, when medicines without doctors, previously when medicine without doctor's prescriptions were available in our pharmacies, I saw my mother and many ladies used to consume OCPs to extend menses. It was given freely even to girls by elderly women in the family. They considered it giving side effect. They never considered that they will get some side effects because of this. It was, and even today, it is easy for them to postpone menses at the occasion of some spiritual activities, puja part, or festivals like now we have Navratri. But they do not know that going against the nature, going against this beautiful nature, will make you to repay. Uterine cancer, breast cancer can be its outcome. Whenever you will postpone the menses, you have to repay because ultimately it is disturbing your hormones, and hormones is the first top layer according to the hierarchy of the health. You are disturbing your top layer, and if you will disturb your top layer, naturally the subsequent layers will get disturbed. So please do not disturb your hormones by any means and suggest the patients also. But what happens if the patient has already consumed it or he is consuming it during your treatment? So you are not going to provide the desired result to the patient. In such cases, a homeopath must be strict with the patient as he tries to arouse the immunity for physiological secretions, and at the same time patient is increasing load on immunity by consuming these so-called innocent hormonal pills, because for them these hormonal pills are just innocent remedies. They feel that we are means extending the menses only for 4-5 days. Later on it will come. So what happened if we consume the hormonal pills? But being homeopath, you know what happened in the future. Understand? The condition is like seesaw in the garden. You are arousing immunity with your remedies and the patient is loading immunity with the OCPs. And you will never get success in such cases. Quit the case by yourself. Eventually, patient is going to leave you as he expects cure from homeopath, the removal of root cause for which he himself is not contributing. When he doesn't get result, which is obviously not possible because the toxin leaving imprints on immunity, making it weak, at the same time you are trying to make it strong. Two opposite forces cannot work at one time. The negative and positive energy applied at same time just make the condition stand still and the result will be neutral. So with such cases, you are eventually going to lose the patient with the time. But if you won't withdraw by yourself and keep treating him long time with no results, the patient will lose the faith in homeopathy and you will be the reason in spoiling the image of homeopathy. So please don't do this. Don't spoil the image of homeopathy. Be honest with the patient. Explain him about immunity and the side effects of such remedies. If he is convinced with you, you are going to create victory. And if the patient is not convinced with you, then leave the case. You will not only earn the patient but his confidence for homeopathy. Listen, friends, my experience of 20 years says to earn money is just easy, very easy. It is just a hath ka mail. But to earn people is really difficult. Try to earn the people. Try to earn their honest feeling, honest trust for you. Don't try to earn money only. If you will earn the people, money will ultimately come to you. It is always this secondary thing. But the first is try to earn the relations and try to earn the people. Now, next menu in our plate for today is approach to prescription. You know, we have different approaches to cure. I won't suggest you to be prejudiced. As Hahnemann himself alarmed us for not to be biased in aphorism 6. In aphorism 6, what Hahnemann has mentioned, he already told you not to be biased. He mentioned about the knowledge of physician in aphorism 5. I'm not going to talk about these aphorisms here because we already learnt all these things in our first year, isn't it? So there is no need to repeat everything, but just remember and keep it in your brain. Homeopathy is a rectified pathy since its birth. Just practice it as suggested by Hahnemann. Many current brands of homeopathy claim to be the only correct method. This attitude causes conflicts between groups and so-called schools. Each one is trying to prove its superiority. Now, at least in India, we have various brands of homeopathy. Like we have the brands in shorts, Alan Solly, Raymond, and everybody is trying to prove their superiority. This is similar to the conflict we witness between different religions, each one believing that they have found the one true God. May my way of practice is listen everyone and collect what is best in that method and make your own style of practice like I do focus on classical and clinical aspect by considering the natural mechanism of the body. Hence I pay importance to the totality with the disturbance at biochemistry level. Understand? Listen everyone, don't criticize anybody because everybody has something good in his practice, in his pattern. So listen everybody, collect the good pearls from everybody, make your own garland, create your own style of working and enjoy the success as I am doing in my practice. Various doctors practice with mental symptoms only. Few are practicing with specific bodily changes like physicals only. But tell me one thing, are these physicals or mentals arising in the same person, not linked to each other? Let me explain with you example. Again, example. In irritability is a mental symptom, but arise due to disturbance in neurotransmitters. Insomnia is counted as neurological physical symptom, but it arises due to any mental stress disturbing the dopamine or serotonin level in the brain. Why shouldn't we consider a person as a whole? Why shouldn't pay equal importance to mental and physical symptoms? Every coin has two sides. We have to understand to look at the what is important by looking in both the sides. You cannot say that I want a coin only showing the tail or only showing the head. You your coin will be the khota sikka in the market and nobody will accept your currency. So, to be acceptable in the field of homeopathy, you should be open, you should not be biased, you should be open for every concept and every approach. So, friends, I would like to suggest you here don't follow any person, follow yourself by taking the important pulse from everybody's knowledge. Read every pioneer, follow all stalwarts, but be your own guru. To are is human being. How can you guarantee that to whom you are following has not made any mistakes? You will also do it, but at least you will learn from your mistake. So if we have to learn from others' mistake, why to learn from others' mistake? If we have to learn from the mistake, then do the practical and learn yourself at your own clinic. It will give you the confidence to enter in a case. Sometimes we value the essence, sometimes the totality, that is constitutional medicine, and sometimes it is the keynote symptom, as we call it as a PQRS symptom, which is mentioned in the aphorism 153. Every patient is a new patient, as Hahnemann mentioned in aphorism 83. So for every patient, we need to keep our eyes open to look with the new approach. Don't keep any approach in your mind. For example, again I am giving the example, isn't it? I think after a few moments you will start calling me example doctor, not a homeopath. But see, examples are just for the simple understanding. If the child has shyness in appearing people, hiding himself in presence of guests, this shyness is the essence of child running through his behavior. The remedy can be Barataka. Here you are paying or you are considering the approach of essence in to enter in the particular case. If we have the shyness along with embarrassment and weeping disposition as totality, the remedy can be Pulsatilla ignitia china. So here your approach is the totality, constitutional one. If we have a strong keynote like desire for candies and rasgulla or jalebi, then we look for the rubric desire for dentist delicacies as a keynote. The remedy can be argentum nitricum, sacrum officinale or tuberculum. Our next point for today's discussion is individualization in clinical case taking. I think till now whatever I explained to you might be easily digested by you. Now let me explain the other thing about the importance of individualization in clinical case taking. Friends, case taking is a 50% work done. And trust me, if you have taken good case, even if you are not a good homeopath, still then you have got all the chances to cure your patient. Final prescription of remedy depends on totality of symptoms. Hence, case taking in homeopathy is designed as per the involved system of the body. Case taking case taking is the process of collecting all the facts about the patient using various tools like observation, perception, history taking given by the patient's attendant, clinical examination, etc. etc. in order to find a remedy for the patient. Please pay importance to the lab investigations too because they are the subjective symptoms of the patient. Sorry, objective symptoms of the patient. Now, why individualization? Individualization is the process of differentiating a person from a group of similar persons. All human beings are anatomically and physiologically alike. In spite of that similarity in our structures and functions, we all have our own individuality. Difference in thinking, reflexes, expressions, emotions, desires, aversions, likes, dislikes, our thermal reaction, whether we are chilly or hot patient, our dreams, susceptibility to various external influences and diseases, etc., makes every person unique. Even twins are not alike by mind. Every twin has different existence. Hahnemann mentioned in aphorism 5 that a physician must have complete knowledge of disease process from beginning to the end. It helps in individualizing person's symptoms from the disease symptom. If you do not know the disease symptom, how will you individualize the pathognomic symptom from the non-pathognomic symptom? Understand? For that you need to be skillful enough by having the complete knowledge of every disease. And that's why I told you that keep reading all types of books. Individualization is not limited till patients or diseases, but it is there even in way of case taking. Homeopathy is the only pathy which interrogates patient thoroughly according to the diseases from which he is suffering. Nowadays, many doctors are using fixed printed prescription in modern medicine. You might have witnessed it various times when your patients are approaching you by taking long, big files from their allopaths and they show you all the prescription. And when you see the prescription, you find that this prescription contains 17, 18 different types of remedies, all in the printed form because the doctors are too busy to write the remedy. So they make it in the printed form nowadays. And for patient A, upper 10 remedies are being chosen. For patient B, lower 6 remedies are being chosen. For patient C, middle 7, 8 remedies are recommended. And in few cases, all 16, 17 remedies are recommended. Is it authenticity? Which type of practice is this? I don't understand. If you are using a printed prescription, it means that already you have decided, already you have given the command to your brain that listen, my dear brain, you have to select the remedies only among this prescription. So you are not giving any work to your brain. You are not giving any exercise to your brain. You have a fixed data. You have to select some remedies from that only. And if suppose the patient needs something else from your prescription, then if you are choosing the remedy from the given prescription, you are not going to provide the cure. I'm sorry to say that you are cheating your patient. This is the biggest example of the prejudiced mind. You are going to fit in Cinderella's shoe mandatorily in every girl's feet. This never happens in homeopathy, fortunately. Homeopath prepare a proper shoe for individual girl. Every person has his individual existence. So you cannot prescribe the generalized remedy to every person. A homeopath being an unprejudiced observer, as suggested by Dr. Hahnemann in aphorism 6, do not prescribe what he feels correct, but he gives the patient what the patient needs. This is the beauty of homeopathy. And I am really a proud person. I really feel proud being a homeopath. Psychiatric case taking is quite different of that gynec and obstetric case taking. Case taking for the disorders like psychosis, neurosis, OCD and hysteria is related with mind and generality of the patient. But the gynec and obstetric case taking is basically focused on the local organs. We do consider general symptoms here also, but we mostly pay importance to the uterus, pelvis, which type of menses the girl is having, whether she is having leukorrhea, what is the color of menses, and how was the normal, how was the labor, was it normal or was it scissor, what about the breastfeeding. So we consider all these things. We consider everything related to the particular gynec organ. And in psychiatric cases, we always talk about the general symptoms, like how do you react to the trauma? How do you react to the traffic? When you are stuck in the traffic, are you able to maintain the patience or you become impatient? What is the sexual desire? How is your sexual life? So here we always consider the symptoms which point out the generality of the patient. We pay importance to the way of pattern of the weeping and laughing. Like patient is laughing like this, ha 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 ha, like this. It is a hysterical laugh where his whole body laughs. Then we know that we are going to address the complete personality of the patient, and crocus sativa can be the remedy in such condition. If patient is weeping like this, she is just sobbing, keeping her tears inside her. This is the nitramure weeping. If she is weeping like this, bumping and spasmodic weeping is the part of ignitia. And if patient is weeping like this, a very sober weeping, where patient doesn't allow the tears even to roll on the cheeks, is the weeping of pulsatilla. I can give lot of examples for the psychiatric case taking here, but friends, I do not have the whole day to talk. Shikhar has given me only 1 hour, so maybe in the next session we will talk about the detailed case taking in psychiatric patients. So today what I wanted to explain you by giving this example, that in homeopathy, fortunately, we have the individualization of case taking too. Now, we do not individualize the person only, we do not individualize the medicines only, but we individualize the patients also. We individualize the involved system also. Homeopathic prescription is based on the unique, rare, uncommon symptom of patient as it predicates the man, the person, not the common symptoms of the disease. As taught by our father, Dr. Hahnemann, in aphorism 153 of homeopathic philosophy. Homeopathy does not treat the disease, it treats the patient. So always try to see beyond the disease, because you are going to treat the immunity. In other words, you need to individualize your patient. You need to treat his individual immunity, not the common symptoms of the diseases. So whenever, if two people or two patients addressing you for the diabetes, you know the common symptoms of diabetes, 3 Ps, polyphagia, polydipsia and polypepsia. But are you going to prescribe them the same remedy which like the other schools are doing? No, they are just maintaining the patient. But we have to cure the patient. So we have to forget these 3 Ps here, and we have to look behind the patient. How the diabetes started, whether it is genetic or has he acquired it due to his wrong lifestyle, and you have to address his immunity. Then you will create the cure. You are not going to maintain the disease, you are going to cure the patient. Homeopathy alone knows and teaches that the cure is to be effected only by means of entire force still existing in the patient. When a medicine perfectly homeopathic to the present case of disease and administered in a proper dose causes this force to exert its curative activity. And that's why we do not prescribe the remedies patient to the lifelong. That's why we just take few months or years of the patient's life with our prescription, with our remedy, and later on we create the permanent cure. Homeopathy is the therapy that helps systematically to unblock a chronic disease with the remedies which are proved on healthy human being, and hence it is extraordinary. So my dear friends, please feel proud that we are homeopath. I always feel proud, and I always share this beautiful line with everyone, that every morning when you get up, you should tell this line to yourself, that I am a proud homeopath and healing is my mission and homeopathy is my passion. So with this, I'm going to end up my session here. I hope you all have enjoyed this. If you have any query, you can please tell me, or you can write me. My email ID is Dr. Kavita Chandak @gmail.com. All these small letters. And for doctor, this is Dr. Kavitachandak @gmail.com. If you have any queries, you can WhatsApp me or you can write here. Shikhar will inform me. Once again, I would like to thank uh, Dr. Shikhar Sharma and his page Herbal Homeo for hosting me today and organizing this beautiful event. Thank you everyone. Good day. See you.